Hi guys, welcome back to Story Time with Miss K. I am going to read this awesome book about Abraham Lincoln. In about a week, we have President's Day on Abraham Lincoln's birthday. So let's find out all about him and see what day his actual birthday is. And let's find out more about this awesome man who was one of the presidents of the United States. I Am Abraham Lincoln by Brad Meltzer. I am Abraham Lincoln. When I was little, even young boys were expected to work on a farm and hunt animals for food. Are you coming? I'll catch up with you later. I preferred to read. I also loved animals. When I was 10 years old, I saw a group of boys playing with some turtles. They found turtles? I love turtles! Look, it's making the turtle run fast. It's the fastest turtle I ever. But as I got closer, I realized they weren't playing. They were taking hot coals and putting them on top of the turtles to see what would happen to them. It was harmless fun. In that moment, I could have just walked away. When you're 10 years old, it's hard to do the right thing, but someone has to. Let this turtle go. What did you say? You heard me. Let it go. Those boys let the turtle go. Soon after, I wrote one of my first essays about how hurting animals is wrong. That may not seem like a big deal, but back then most kids and even adults didn't know how to write. In fact, the state of Indiana was so new, schools weren't even built yet. I went to school for barely a year total, but that didn't stop me. Using chalk, I practiced writing the alphabet on trees. I even wrote in dirt of a cornfield. Abe, how's the corn coming? Great, Dad. When it came to learning, my best teachers were simply books. I loved books so much, I once walked 6 miles. I'm serious, 6 miles to get one. 6 miles? That's too far for a book. Not for this one. I read while my horse was resting, and while waiting in line at the local store, and in one of my favorite positions with my feet up on a tree. Before long, I had read every book in the neighborhood, from the Bible to Aesop's Fables to Robinson Crusoe, but one of my favorites, a book about George Washington. I'd even copy my favorite parts on pieces of wood. Friend and benefactor of men. Did you know that George Washington was a friend of men? You're a strange boy, Abraham Lincoln. Yeah, but I'm going to be on the penny someday. What's a penny? When I was 22 years old, we moved to Illinois, where I met a group known as the Clay Grove Boys. You think you're better than us? I never said that. Don't be a chicken. Show us what you got. Everyone in town knew they were bullies. I did not like bullies. But I was the new guy. When they challenged me, I didn't have much choice. Today, some may call it a fight, but it was really a wrestling match. Me against their leader, Jack Armstrong. Back then, the rule was once you grabbed your opponent, you couldn't break your hold. Wham! But Jack did, so he could grab my leg and send me flying. I wasn't mad that I lost. Everyone loses sometimes. What got me upset was he had cheated. You didn't play fair. Maybe you want to fight us all? Within seconds, they all surrounded me. They were waiting for me to back down or to lose my cool. Instead, calmly and confidently, I told them, if I have to, I will fight. Every single one of you, fair and square. They knew I meant it. Sure, you're a strange kid, Abraham Lincoln, but you've got guts. You know I'm going to be on the penny. What's a penny? Sometimes the hardest fights don't reveal a winner, but they do reveal our character, especially when you're fighting for something you believe in. Still, not every struggle brought a victory. Years later, I saw a group of slaves chained together in a boat on the Ohio River. Back then, not all people were free, some were slaves. Just because of the color of their skin, they were forced to work without pay. They were treated terribly. I never forgot the sight of that boat. I didn't do anything that day, but for years, the memory of those people, it haunted me. I was still thinking about them when I became president. I lost 4 elections before I got the big job. 4. America was facing one of the greatest fights in our history, the Civil War. One side wanted to let the slaves go free. The other side, we want to keep slavery going and we'll fight anyone who says otherwise. If I had turned my head and looked away, it wouldn't have avoided the fight. But I'd learned anything in life, it was this. When someone needed help, I wasn't so good at looking away. I'm sorry, I cannot allow that. What'd you just say? You heard me. These people will be free. The Civil War lasted longer than anyone thought. The fighting took terrible tolls. People on our side were ready to give up. To re energize them, we held a big event in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. The main speaker gave a speech that lasted nearly 2 hours. I gave a speech that lasted 2 minutes and used only 271 words. The most important 5 words I said are, all men are created equal. Soon after, I helped pass a law that ended slavery in America and freed all of those people. Then we ended the Civil War. As a result, we didn't just bring together these United States of America, we proved that this government of the people, by the people, and for the people would be dedicated to freedom and justice. You know, in his speech, he told the crowd that no one would remember what he said at Gettysburg. Want to bet? In life, strength can take many forms, but there's nothing quite as strong as standing up for someone who needs it. No matter where you're from or how little you have, one thing that can never be taken away from you is your voice. When you find something you believe in, use your voice. And when you see injustice, speak louder than you've ever spoken before. When you do, it'll never be forgotten. Look, he's on the penny. I'm Abraham Lincoln. I will never stop fighting for what's right, and I hope you'll remember that when you speak your mind and speak for others, there's no more powerful way to be heard. I am not bound to win, but I am bound to be true. I am not bound to succeed, but I am bound to live by the light that I have. I must stand with anybody that stands right and stands with him while he is right, and part with him when he goes wrong. Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln was born on February 12th, 1809. Pretty cool. This is a picture drawing of him giving the Gettysburg Address. The bearing of the Civil War. During the Civil War, I read that backwards. During the Civil War, and this is a replica of Abraham Lincoln's first home, found at the Lincoln's Birthplace National Historic Park in Kentucky. He was first lived in a little log cabin. The end.